Hey, and welcome to the channel. I've been trying to do a live, and hello and welcome. I thought I'd do a live stream, but I'm having a bit of a problem getting it to go into landscape. It keeps going. So I had it all set, and then I was coming along, got it, tried to start it, and it seemed it wouldn't start streaming. I did get it to work, landscape, earlier, so I think I just need to get used to it, really. Oh, nice, I've just been out having a good time. And here's me out driving away down to Edinburgh. Right, so I had a bit of a interesting debate. It was about SUVs, and there's this. Well, Jeff Buys Cars did a video about it, and it's sort of like they're more dangerous for pedestrians. But I did it. So this guy came on and said, "Oh, they're much safer. For the driver point of view, passengers not." And I goes, "Oh, are they?" So I'm just always a little bit not too. When people make comments like that, I'm always a little bit cynical. But so first off, it means, what do you mean they're safer? So I think he thinks they're safer for him as a driver. So he's sitting in an SUV. That's what he means. Well, there's one there, I think. The other thing about this is you've got to define what an SUV is as well. You know, what is an SUV? What is an SUV? Now, so there's the night bus. So I did a bit of research on Google, you know. There's a lot of anti-SUV stuff, and like from the Guardian and stuff, and from the sort of climate nutters. So that you should always be cynical with that, always. But so they're saying they're deadly. They're deadly. For pedestrians, there was so pedestrians killed. The SUV crashed into, killed some people standing at the side of the road. So, well, yeah, right. So an SUV is higher, isn't it? Just can't train transport there. So, if it hits you, and you're a pedestrian, the thing was, I think the research said that you get injured higher up your body and legs. What the fuck? What's going on here? What am I looking at? What the fuck? Oh, right. So I'm thinking, why are they... Oh, right, it's roadworks. I'm thinking, why are they going the wrong way in the dual carriageway? Motorway, sorry. And right, so he thinks that they're safer, and I don't. Like, you've got to take all things considered with these. So I think he thinks they're safer in one element, which is if you're in it. So there's also a thing that they roll over. They're more likely to roll over. So he come back to me and he said, oh well, there's only 10% of accidents are rollover accidents. I mean, as you know, I'm driving, well, you probably guessed, I'm driving a van just now. I'm not totally convinced. I'm not totally convinced that SUVs are safer. No. It's actually getting colder. I might have to get the... Alright, flash, flash, flash. The other problem with doing the live streaming is probably there might be a problem with getting this internet as well. But it's got full green things now. That what have you forgot? Have you forgot anything? No, I don't think so. So the research that this, I mean, it's one of the problems I think in the UK or probably everywhere is that when they get road statistics, they don't specify if it's an SUV or not. So so we've got a problem with definition there, which is the definition of a woman is something that's been argued about. Well, it's not been argued about it. It's the definition of an SUV. So the government are going to collate road accidents, or somebody's going to collate road accident statistics. So they don't have it separated into was it an EV or not. So I'm always cynical as I am about research because they lie so much about a lot of things. So like, I was reading this thing and it was like The Guardian or something, and they were going on about how SUVs are so deadly and everything, and there was not a mention of EVs. EVs are heavier. They're also SUVs as well. SUV EVs. They're heavier. They're more dangerous with the battery. If the battery gets compromised, it can go into thermal runaway and cause a fire that the fire service cannot put out. They just got to come round and stand and watch it. And the government allowed this to happen to us. Doesn't that mean the government's shit? Yes, it does. It does. It really does. Right, scoot tidy, take a little one. Right, okay. Right, so we'll have a wee. We'll be at the Kelpies in a momento. Right, guys. We're nearly at the Kelpies. Right guys, we're at the Kelpies. I've got the underfloor heater on because the one off the engine doesn't really work very well. So rather than, well, I suppose I could try and fix it. I mean, I assume that it's the matrix that's blocked. Right guys, here's the Kelpies. I've got a truck behind us, but he's turning off into Grangemouth. I want to talk about depression. It's a really difficult thing to talk about because it's very difficult to explain. I find it very difficult to explain my particular type that I get. So I've been that way for about 3 days. The ones that it consists of, this is the difficult bit. It consists of like a huge feeling of nothingness, and it's like, you know. So there's people have specific problems. There's a lot of people are nihilistic, because say like there's a lot, like the way things has worked out in this country, there's people, so I'm sort of cushioned to a lot of the things that people are suffering from. Like this guy I was speaking the other day, his rent's £950 a month, right? I don't have any of these problems, right? But anyway, so I suppose what I'm really sort of saying is that some people, or you might assume that somebody's struggling to pay their rent, and that's why they've got depression. So it might be, it might be that people are like that, right? But for me, that's not what causes it. So it's caused, I think it's caused by a gender transition that I did 2014, and I was told before I did it that I would regret it. And you know what? Well, no, there's two elements: that you would regret it. Another thing is that you would get very depressed. Yes. Both, yeah. I don't regret it all the time, but I regret it some of the time. So is that, I don't really know if I would still be suffering from depression if I hadn't done that. I suspect I would, actually. I don't exactly know what causes it, but it's what's the symptoms? Well, it's just like nothing really seems to matter, and I don't feel like I'm a real person. I'm definitely not a man, right? So I've got identity issues, I think. So I don't feel I'm not a man, I'm not a woman either. So what am I? I'm just some fucking idiot, right? So that's what gets like. So I think that, but I mean that in more an existential way, rather than just a cliche. I'm not saying that in a cliched way. I'm saying that in an existential way, where I genuinely don't have like a strong sense of identity. I think that's where it comes. I think that's where a lot of my mental problems come from. So what caused that? Well, I'm probably the only one that says this, but I believe my mother was sociopathic. Our mother. Did that cause it? It might have done, yeah. Maybe. I don't know. For sure. My dad was sort of decent kind of guy, but he was ineffective. Well, the psychiatrist said he was ineffective, and that would be true. So he was ineffective, so he couldn't really save us. with this tyrannical monster who was her mother. I think that's probably... So I don't think I developed properly. You know, I didn't develop into being a man. Well, obviously I didn't, did I? So I had all these issues, and they were all... I was having to deal with them myself, and I was up against this evil woman, and this was going right up, you know, right up till recently, before she died. The only sort of respite I got was when I went up to see them, and she'd got dementia, and of course that's why I was allowed to go up there, because I wasn't allowed up to visit them. So, and then of course when she died, my sister carried on that toxic behaviour, except it was worse when she was worse. It's like, because my dad wasn't there. No, my dad died. No, my mum died, and then my dad, I didn't realise until later that my dad was preventing my sister and my mother from being toxically horrible towards me, and there was lots of nasty stuff afoot and everything, and it really was centred around homophobic behaviour. I've never actually really ever identified as being a homosexual, but I think they considered me to be a homosexual. They were very ignorant people, and like, my understanding of sexuality and everything is that the reason that men are not allowed to tamper with homosexual activities is really so that women can have them to themselves. And then to a certain extent that's a good idea, because that means that you can, you know, have a family and bring children up and stay within that family unit without involving other people. But it all depends how you look at it, and how you consider sex and all that sort of thing. And of course, even talking about these things right now, there's, you know, sort of taboo subjects. You know, you're not really supposed to talk about it. It's like, oh, I mean, I've got a friend, Alan. He's like that. He's a decent guy, him. I like him and everything, but see, if you start talking about things like that, he fucking doesn't like it. I can see he doesn't like it. Because it's like, it's a sort of thing where you don't talk about these things. So, you know, and so me talking about it, it's like embarrassing to him, you know. But you can sort of say things in a more roundabout way, but if you start talking seriously about these types of things about human beings and how they work, then... So he's typical, there's a lot of people like that. So, what the hell, that's a truck. So what happens to me is I do get pretty bad with it, yeah. I found out today, well, I was actually videoing when we were driving, and a passenger started talking. I switched it off because there's somebody that he was mentioning who they were, right? But I'd already switched the video off. But I can tell you what it is, and it's because I'm not going to mention any names, but there's a man hung himself from a bridge. I don't know if I should really talk about this. I don't think you're actually allowed to anyway. And he was saying that the man, he knows him now, didn't appear to have any obvious problems. So I think he was like, my friend was trying to say it was some kind of clinical thing in his head that was, you know, rather than he was trying to say there was a difference between a clinical depression or a depression caused by something else. And what he was talking about is because there's a lot of them in that, well, not in there is a lot of them take substances, right? So this particular guy wasn't one of them, right? So I think this video is quite depressing, actually. Yeah, I think it is. So we better cheer ourselves up a bit. I'm going to move the subject on to something a bit. It's the time of night for it though, but so I'm just trying to share. I suppose I'm just sharing my pain, aren't I? I don't want you I don't want you lot to have any pain listening to me, right? You can just be understanding and listen. I don't want you to take on board any of the negative energies. I think that, well, are they negative energies? I'm not trying to offload them on anyone. Well, am I? Well, I don't think so. I think I'm just sharing my feelings on it, you know, and how it works for me. So what happens typically with me is I'll snap out of it. I don't know when that's going to happen. It might be tomorrow. And then I'll be sort of totally fine. You know, I don't have any particular pressures. I was talking about rent and everything earlier. I don't really have these issues. But equally, that not having a drive or a need can also lead to a sort of form of nihilism. Because if you have to go and make money to pay your rent or do something, so I don't really have to do that. So is that why I'm depressed? You know, because I don't have to bother. I can just sit around. I do all this out of just Protestant ethics. Yeah, I always blamed it on that. Yeah, my family, but I don't know if that's true or not. It's a Protestant ethic thing. I think to a certain extent it is. Having a function, I mean, having a work. Well, you've got to be strong, haven't you? And you've got to supply the women. That was our thing. Oh no, supply wealth to the women, to the family. Of course, all that got taken away from me, and I said I'm quite free from that. So we'll have a wee chat once we get to Newbridge. So I suppose this is really well. I was going to try and change the subject, but well, I don't know if you really feel like listening to this fucking misery. But what I'm trying to explain what goes on in my head, and it's like, so for example, what happens is, and it happened today a few times, if you think of either a car or a place, so let's just say a car. Say I see a Mark III Ford Mondeo. I will, if I'm depressed, I will find a scene of deep embarrassment myself, where I did something embarrassing or I was ashamed of something, and there'll be a Mark III Mondeo there, or the person owned one or something, or I was driving one or something like that. So equally, you could say something like, let's say at Arbroath, I'll think of something embarrassing or shameful that happened in Arbroath that I did. That's what happens. It's a really weird thing. I hope that, I don't, does that make, what, don't fucking say, does that make sense? Does it make sense? Do you understand? And so it's horrible. It's like a real disaster where everything's, you know, everything's embarrassing. So it's also like amplified. Me, like, my position in society is so embarrassing. It's like amplified. Or I think I look completely ridiculous or something, right? And the person might be just thinking, oh, you look alright, you know, I don't say anything wrong with you or whatever, you know. Alright. So they're busy. At this time of night. See, I'd be quite happy doing a job like that. But, you know, I suppose they get to do longer hours of everything, whereas a truck driver wouldn't. But at the end of the day, that's sort of thing I think about quite a bit is how futile and waste of time my videos are, right? Doing them, and I do thousands of them, and I look at them and go, what's the point? I've already done that one last week, that one the week before, nobody cares, nobody remembers. But isn't life like that? I mean, this guy here, he's got a truck there in front of us, he's delivered a couple of cars in the motor trade. You know, he's going to go and do the same thing again tomorrow, you know, or Monday, Sunday. 6 months time, you know, he's going to get a phone call Monday or Tuesday to go and pick up a Kia or something, and something else. And 6 months time, the same thing. Is he going to remember? You know, is there much point? Well, yeah, but I think it's just type of nihilism starts creeping in when you get older. Right, we'll catch up with you at Hermiston Gate. Wow. So here we are, we're heading for Hermiston Gate. So what I was thinking there, was about my mother and what she. No, see what happened. I've got to deal with this on my own because my siblings dumped it all on me. And what I mean by that is they don't speak to me, so they're not even going to speak about our upbringing because they don't speak to me at all. So I believe they dumped the shit, all the toxic shit, they dumped it on top of me, and they knew they were doing it as well. And so what I mean is, my brother this is why he's the least evil of them, but he is the one that angers me the most because he should really know better. That's like the problems I've got with him. But he was always very competitive and everything, you know, like it's one of these types. I mean, I've got my mechanics like that as well. Everyone's got to turn into a competition. You know, it's like, for fuck's sake, you know. You don't want to like say something the wrong way, but you start a challenge, you know, so you're kind of fucked that way. You know, there's a Royal Mail. But that's just, so I can't really like go over any of that stuff because they don't talk to me at all. So, but what happened with him was I was messaging him, and the last time I messaged him was during the COVID thing, and he was at work or something, and I just knew he just didn't want to talk to me. I knew. You know, it's like, so basically, like I was sort of talking to him, and then he wasn't responding, or he was too busy or whatever. And he's done that a lot. He's done that before that. Right, so he's the type that would say, a lot of my relatives would say something like, oh, keep in touch and everything like that. And then when you do, they don't fucking talk to you. So it's like, what they really mean is, don't fucking keep in touch. You know? So, I mean, it's like you can't choose your relatives. You know, but as far as I can tell, they're all fucking horrible. Is what I believe they are. You know, and so he fucked off to Australia, didn't he? And well, the interesting thing about Australia is, I was thinking about my mother. In 1974, she fucked off to Australia, and I'm thinking about that today. I can remember when she did it. I was 8 at that time, and I was just thinking just how selfish that was. My dad had to bring us up, the 3 of us. Well, he had a job, obviously a job and everything. She fucked off to Australia on a jolly for 3 months. I think it was 3 months. I mean, you don't really go to Australia for a week or something, do you? I don't know if it's even worse back then. I don't even know how she got there. It was probably Qantas. You know, probably. To go and see her sister who lived in Perth. And my granddad... Yeah, well, he'd moved out there, yeah. That's... her father, you know. It's like, fuck's sake. What do they like them lot? You know, that's my genetics. That's where I got my genetics from. But, fuck's sake, you know. Fucking strange. I actually feel quite hungry now, but I can't have any tea. It's about 1 o'clock in the morning. So, the whole thing's... I don't know, people... Are people happy with their lives and it's all wonderful? I think most people have problems, don't they? Yeah. So there's lots of weird noises with the van, and it's just because it's worn out and old. You get like noises coming off the gearbox, and it's sort of like shafty noises, you know. I think really the reality is that, so my children, you know, I don't know exactly how they would express their feelings about me and their mother, you know. And there's 2 different mothers going on there. But, you know, they might have sort of negative views about me, and that quite rightly so, I suppose. But that's the other thing, they've sort of stayed away as well, and it's like, I would say, well, my door's open, you know, sort of thing. But it's their choice. I don't think you can really make somebody... You can't force somebody to come and visit you or something. So, like, my daughter talks to me, we talk to each other, but not really much, and I can't really, like... I can't say, like, right, I'll come down and I'll take you out for a meal or something. Because if I push it too much, then it'll give her the upper hand, and she'll maybe be able to behave badly or something, or ruin it or something, because it wasn't her idea. So I've got to like back off from her. So if she wanted me to take her out for her birthday, for example, I'd be pretty happy to do that, but I'm not going to do it if she doesn't want to. So I've got to like back right off. You know, whatever's going on with her and her mother and all that shite, I mean, there's nothing I can do about that crap. It could be that she doesn't want me there because of that, I don't know. Fuck knows. So I'm sort of done with it anyway. I'm not really getting involved in any of her mum's games, silly games. You know, she can carry on playing them without me. So I think we'll call this video low mood. I think we might as well. Maybe some people might like listening to it. I don't know. Right, so we'll find out right now if we're going to have a quiet night. Oh yes, it's lovely and quiet over here. Oh yeah, superb. Wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. Not a car in sight. Oh, yes, 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 yes. Oh, this is good. Just be my luck somebody gets right in the fucking way. Well, this is wonderful. And so, we made it. Thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe. And we'll get you in the next video. Bye.